Hello, I'm Heather.
And I'm Ryan.
Welcome to the podcast. It's game night, it's sibling rivalry, it's a walk down memory lane, but most importantly, it's politics free.
Guaranteed.
Welcome to the Politics Free podcast. This is round 8 of Stuff Happens. Here's how it works. We have a set of cards. Each one describes a horrible situation and is ranked on a misery index from 1, least miserable, to 100, most miserable. I'll rank 3 cards in the order of their misery index number, and then Ryan will have to correctly place a 4th card into that sequence. Then we'll switch it around, and it'll be my turn. Whoever's guess is most accurate wins the ever-coveted Gloating Rights Trophy. Ryan?
Yes. Take it away, Heather.
Until we play again. Every time. Every time.
Until we play again.
Excellent. And stay tuned to the end, regulars out there, for a listener story.
I am excited. Is it somebody I know?
Well, full disclosure, it's my friend Kristen again.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready for your cards?
I'm ready for my cards.
Somebody, I like specifically was like, you need to tell me your bat story. I'm recording tonight. It wasn't even unsolicited like last time. All right, Ryan, your cards. Let's find them here.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay. Mm-hmm. Chronic insomnia, 52.5.
Mm-hmm.
Find half of a worm in an apple you are eating, 50.1.
I feel like that's ranked too high. Compared to chronic insomnia?
Yeah, agreed. Also, don't they just add protein to the situation? Technically, they're not even really going to do anything bad to you.
They're not even, it's not bad for you. It's a worm.
I've got a great story about that, by the way. Your third card, you fart loudly and repeatedly at a funeral. 16.
I would place that higher than finding half of a work in an apple I'm eating.
All right, nobody gets the joke because they can't see my typo. See, only you can see it. Into this order, chronic insomnia, find half a worm in an apple you're eating, and fart loudly and repeatedly at a funeral, you must correctly place pen explodes in mouth.
Listen, I would rather have a pen explode in my mouth than fart loudly and repeatedly at a funeral. But I have a feeling it's going to be ranked in between that and finding half a worm in an apple I'm eating.
I have a similar feeling, and I think I would rather have a pen explode in my mouth than fart loudly and repeatedly at a funeral, but I would definitely rather have a pen explode in my mouth than eat half a worm in an apple.
Yeah, exactly. I would rather eat half a worm than have a pen explode in my mouth. And I've had a pen explode in my mouth in elementary school, and it's not that bad. But then again, I was also very young, so...
It just tastes kind of bad for a second, and maybe there's ink on your lip for a few days.
Yeah, and in your mouth and on your teeth, and yeah, it's great. But it's not that bad. Okay, listen. Mm-hmm. I know I'm wrong, but I'm placing it at 12. I'm going to put it at 12.
At 12. Okay, final answer?
Yes.
Pen explodes in mouth. 14.1.
Nice!
You nailed it.
I almost
Nicely
did
done.
15. I almost said 15. But then I was like, maybe it's a 10. I went in between.
Well, you're only 2.1 off.
Nice.
Before we go on to my cards, I have to mention, I've never bitten into a piece of fruit or a vegetable and had some worms been in there.
Mm-hmm.
But one time, in a cafeteria, which will remain unnamed, I sat down, I came in, and I got some food off the buffet, and it was like this stroganoff with rice thing, and it was a meal I really liked, and for whatever reason, even though I'd almost always get rice, I just, for some reason, was not in the mood for rice on this day. So I plunked the beef in, got a salad, whatever it was, sat down, I'm eating my beef, and I just happened to be like spacing out in the direction of somebody's plate which is rude. You're not supposed to stare at someone's plate of food, but I was just spacing out at their plate of food. Huh. And then suddenly I was like, their rice is moving. And I looked a little closer, and as she's about to take another bite, I shot my hand out and I was like, do not take another bite of that. And I like swatted her hand down. She's like, what the fuck? I was like, look at your rice. And she looked at her rice, and there was all these maggots squirming in her rice.
That is so gross.
And she was like, ah! She just started to scream. I took her plate and I ran down to the kitchen and like showed it to the chef. And he was like, just got wide-eyed and like ran so fast and just went and took the rice off of the buffet. And yeah, everybody just ate maggoty rice that day, and I guess we decided not to tell them. I don't know. Sorry, everyone that was there that day.
How does moving maggots get into cooked rice?
I do not know.
Because
I do not know.
That had to have happened between the time that rice left the kitchen and got to the cafeteria. Or
it was cooked in advance and just heated up a little, and it had been sitting there for a while. Could that be another way? Would heating it up kill the maggots? How now we got to know, how high of a temperature can a maggot survive in?
You gotta cook rice at high temperatures. I mean, the water's got to be pretty much boiling while it's cooking.
According to Wired.com, maggots bring the heat. We know from past research on sweltering maggots that temperatures up to 50 degrees Celsius, 122 degrees Fahrenheit, can be generated. There is variation from species to species, but thermal death occurs between 40 and 50 degrees Celsius. So, I mean, yeah, boiling water is... How much is boiling water? It's hotter than that.
I think, boiling in Celsius is 100 degrees, isn't it?
Don't know. 212 Fahrenheit, so that's almost 100 degrees hotter. So the only thing I can think of is that rice was pre-cooked and sat for a while. I don't know, but I wouldn't have noticed it if they hadn't been squirming in there. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. I just know that a whole lot of people ate maggots on that day.
Or maybe it was just the one person that was being targeted. Someone put a special treat of maggots in her dish.
No, because as I pointed it out, other people at the table started examining their rice and looking equally horrified. I just feel like it was a maggoty day.
Heather, are you ready for your cards?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Your tongue gets stuck to frozen flagpole, 28. You get head lice, 10. Mid-air turbulence, 8. You have to correctly place, open your mailbox, and bees come out.
Okay. I just want to say this. I've never stuck my tongue on a frozen pole of any kind. And that is because I learned that mistake from A Christmas Story.
Mm-hmm.
Which we've all seen a million times, and so we know that you don't do that.
That is correct.
I have, however, had my tongue stuck to a like a popsicle.
Okay.
Like you first take it out and you go, and it got stuck on my tongue. And I just sat there thinking, what do I do with this? And the heat from my tongue just melted the ice and it came off.
Okay.
After a few seconds, I was like, well, that wasn't so bad. So, like, I feel like I could handle this situation just fine if I got super drunk and stuck my tongue on a flagpole in freezing weather.
However, Heather, remember, you have a popsicle that is much smaller than a piece of metal pole, which in itself melts away because you're in room temperature eating it. Now, if that had happened outside, I don't think your tongue could have melted it fast enough in freezing weather.
Fair enough.
So,
I mean, I guess I'm happy with a 28 on that. This game has become us judging their misery index placings instead of just playing it. Head lice is higher than 10. I've had that. I had that as a little girl. It was horrendous. It sucked. And I don't know what they do now, but in the 80s, it was like, time to turpentine your hair. We're just going to put turpentine in there, which is what we did. Wrap it in a towel. We're going to drown them with turpentine.
Jeez.
Do you not remember? Did you ever have had lice?
I've never had lice. Apparently, my hair was too dirty for lice.
They did not want to go onto your filthy scalp.
I was going to say, because apparently lice are attracted to clean hair. From what I understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe that story.
Okay.
I'm not sure I do. But I will say this. It was very unpleasant having my hair turpentined.
Yeah, I bet.
Mid-air turbulence. Now, this really depends. Do you have a phobia? Like, if you already are scared of flying, which a lot of people are, and you suddenly get that air turbulence where the plane just drops a few feet, suddenly out of nowhere before it catches itself again. Have you ever been in, like, super heavy air turbulence?
I have, where the plane has actually dropped a couple feet.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Which gave me some heart palpitations.
It gave me that as well. I feel like if you have a heart condition, just drive. Or walk.
Yeah.
Walk where you're going. You don't need to fly. Okay, but now here's the key. I have to open my mailbox and bees come out. Bees are not that aggressive. There's no guarantee I will be stung in this situation.
Hold on, Heather. Just backing up real quick. I had to look it up, but the lice being attracted to clean hair is a myth. They are attracted to dirty hair.
There you go.
According to Carecom.com.
I think some people that were in the cool crowd got lice one time, and they were like, oh my God, it's because I cleaned my hair too much. But like they were really filthy person in secret.
That is exactly what happened.
So then we all had to believe the myth. But yeah, it doesn't make sense to me that bugs would come to clean, well-groomed hair. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. See, for me, if I open my mailbox and bees come out, that's not that big of a deal to me. Because they're not aggressive. Like if hornets or something came out, yeah, that's bad. But if like bees come out, or even bumblebees, which are even less aggressive. I mean, okay, we used to have the 4th of July, like softball tournament. Remember that? And they bring out those soda fountains and the bees would just swarm into these soda fountains. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. I
had
that.
No problem. People were scared to go up to the soda fountain. I'd just get all the cups and be like, yeah, I'm not scared of the bees. And I'd go in and I'd fill them all up and the bees would leave me alone. I would never get stung.
And the yellow jackets, too, would be there.
Oh, would they? Well, I only noticed the cute honeybees. I think they would put this as the worst one. I think this goes on the top of the list.
Hell yeah.
That was sarcastic. Now I doubt myself. 37. I'm putting it at a 37.
Okay.
Ryan, do you care to wager a guess for fun?
I'm going to put it at about 20.
69.2.
What?
69.2. Now I correctly placed that and you correctly placed yours, but I was off by a mile. So Ryan takes round 8.
Are they talking about a whole hive? They must be talking about a whole hive because that is the only way it could be that high.
In the picture, it's a whole hive. This person's just being stung to death.
Okay, all right, that's fair. If that is the case, yes.
However,
but just by the wording where I don't see the picture, open your mailbox and bees come out, I could be like, oh, 3 bees just came out of my mailbox. Big whoop. I'm going to grab my... Maybe I got stung in the process.
I think in this game, what we have to assume is a worst case scenario every time. I think that's
that's fair.
Just a given. If this is where they had set up their hive, yeah, I think you'd probably be in danger of being stung. I mean, there's a reason beekeepers wear that big fat white suit with the mask.
There's beekeepers that don't even wear that.
Do you think they got stung?
I'm sure they do, but they're probably used to it.
All right. Well, Ryan, that brings the running score to an even 4 for both of us. We just tied it up in round 8.
Nice. And I beat you this time by a mile. Ha!
Pretty much. And now it's time for listener stories. My friend Kristen saves the day again. If anybody else wants to send in a listener story, please do. You can visit our website, thepoliticsfreepodcast.com. Just scroll down. You can find links to our voicemail, or you can send us an email. And I will also post to our Instagram page at the Politics Free Podcast, everything linked in the description, the show notes of the episode, if you would prefer to leave it there on a social media platform rather than calling or emailing. We do want to hear from you. I've got a bat story today, but we'd like to hear about your hailstorm survival story. Was it as big as baseballs? Did it hit you? Are you okay? What happened? We need to know that story. And then I think it's fair we should also ask for tattoo mistakes. That was in one of the last rounds we did. I can't believe I didn't say, tell us your tattoo mistakes, please. So that's what we're looking for right now. Or if any of these cards bring up an amusing story you want to share, please feel free. But for now, here's what she says. Start with the knowledge that bats swoop down if their sonar, she's calling it sonar. Is that what it is? I think it's sonar.
I think so.
Detects anything, so you have to crawl army style with a blanket over you because they legitimately do get caught in hair, but it's on accident. So you see, they're not trying to dive into your hair or chase you, according to Kristen. Let's move on.
I beg to differ. Continue.
My mother-in-law worked at a church, and they often got bats. While she was at her desk and her friend and co-worker was at hers, a bat flew out of the closet and started swooping toward them. They wanted to get out and keep it shut in the office so it didn't get loose in the rest of the building. This was something they had had happen before. They got up and ran toward the door, and as my mother-in-law looked back, she saw the bat right over her friend's shoulder. So she slammed the door behind her as her friend looked at her in horror, saying, "No!" She shut her friend in the room with the bat. There were windows in the door, so she saw her friend dive under her desk, but the bat landed on the floor, spread its wings out, and started crawling under the door toward my mother-in-law. She always gags when she talks about and shows how it spread out its wings and came out. The funny part is how she shows it crawling out. So she acts it out in a very amusing way. We all tell her it's karma because she left her friend in there while trying to keep the bat in. Yes, I would say that is a definite case of instant karma right there.
Yes.
She says you can look up a video on them crawling to kind of see what she's describing. Apparently, bats crawl. I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
I just thought they flew and stood still, like sat still.
Hung upside down.
There you are. Anyway.
So I have another bat story.
Oh, please.
So back in the day when I was at Job Corps, there was a bat in the dormitory, and it was on the first floor there's the boys' wing and then the girls' wing, and separated in between on the first floor is like a common area. So it was loose in the common area, and I was on my way back to the common area from the laundry room, which is on the other side of the girls' wing. So you have to walk through the girls' hallway to get back to the common area. But as I was on my way to the laundry room, I'm walking through, and there's this commotion. People are freaking out because there's this bat, and I'm just minding my own business. I don't care at this point. And I see the bat flying around, and there's people with buckets trying to catch this thing, and someone with a broomstick waving it at this bat. And then one guy freaking out over the guy with the broomstick. "You're gonna kill it! You're gonna kill it! Don't kill the bat!" And there's probably about 10 people just all over the place trying to catch this thing, right? So I walk through, minding my own business. I walk down the hallway, go throw my laundry, and I'm starting to head back to my room. And as I'm headed back, the bat had made it into the girls' hallway and was like flying back and forth. And all these people are chasing it back and forth with their buckets and their broom. And I happened to be holding a notebook, and this thing flew it was coming right at me, and like it came out of nowhere. Like I wasn't expecting it to come at me, but it came at me, and I dodged my head to the side and swatted it with the notebook. and accidentally killed it.
Oh.
And which was not my intention, right? But it was just the reaction was like, ha! You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's laying there dead on the ground, and the guy that had been freaking out over the guy with the broom, the broom, starts freaking out. He's like, "You murdered it! You murdered the bat!" And he's just in tears, and he's freaking out. And I was just like, "I'm sorry, dude. It was an accident." And I just moved along.
Wow. That guy was really broken up over it.
He was.
Maybe you get chased by bats because of karma. Again, bat karma. It'll get you. It'll get you every time.
First of all, I would like to point out that this happened well after the time that I was actually chased by a bat.
Mm-hmm.
So the bat got karma from its great-great-great-grandfather who chased me.
So you say. So you say. Anyway, if you've been enjoying this podcast, please share it, tell someone, text them a link to an episode you've enjoyed, post it on social media. We would appreciate it greatly if you would do that. And last but not least, if you have been enjoying listening to us play this game, Stuff Happens by Goliath Games, you can go to goliathgames.us and search for Stuff Happens there, or you can go to the show notes. We will link to the game there if you want to pick it up for yourself. They are not a sponsor, but I feel like it's only right to mention that you can buy this game. And you should. I did. That's why we're playing it.
Indeed.
Until we play again.